Welcome to Hot Ones, the show with hot wings and even hotter questions. Today we have Vincent Castillo, the editor and cameraman of our final product. Vincent, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here.
All right, Vincent, start us off.
Okay. Here is something.
Good man.
Oh, it's not that bad.
All right. As a cameraman, you must have grown an editor. You must have grown a lot during this project. Tell us about your camera work.
So at the beginning of the year, of course, rookies, not very familiar with the AICE Media Studies class, we were pretty horrible at camera work. Later in the year, because we posted an entire video on match cuts. No, it was jump cuts. It was jump cuts. So for jump cuts, just to get a better understanding of everything, we got a whole video on that, and then that was pretty nice. It really grew our understanding. In our first video that we did, like the very first video, it was to mimic what our final project would look like. Very, very rough draft. So we made that. It was not good. It was very sloppy. But later in the year, I got really into, as the cameraman, looking at the rule of thirds and how it would apply, frame of nine squares, and just putting the subject in different areas to represent, their internal conflict, their relationships with other characters. So right at here, as you can see, I have our main character, looking in the mirror, so his reflection is on the right side, and as he's looking in the mirror, it's more central or to the left a little bit. We did this to reflect sort of how the main character's inner persona is kind of taking control, it's taking center stage, it's in the middle of the frame, and it's in contrast to the main character on the right, so that shows a kind of little separation in a way.
Wow. That's a whole lot of growth. All right, now onto the second one.
I do not like the color of that.
Yeah. Doesn't look very pleasant.
Does not. Ooh, that's there. Oh man.
It's personally one of my favorites. All right, so
It's pretty good.
to further that, as a cameraman, you had to work a lot with lighting. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
In a similar sense to the camera work, the lighting was very choppy at the beginning. We were in a rough spot. We didn't really understand. I'm just feeling the kick. We didn't really understand a whole lot about the lighting, and it was really rough. The milk is fine. It was really rough, and we just didn't have a lot of it. In our first rough draft video, it was blurry in the background. We had a long shot, I believe. It was either in the first film or it was in the sound video we did. But that was, the lighting kind of completely corrupted everything. We used natural lighting from the sun. It was just too much. And then as the year progressed, we didn't really focus on it a whole lot. We tweaked the exposure a few times, kind of got a better understanding. And then when we really, got with the blogs and started updating those, we dove more into the lighting. So in our, in our final product, the lighting is very clear. The message is clear. It's very dim, very dark. Lots of positive and negative space, more negative space. And there's just backlighting from the lamp on the side. And that just, creates a silhouette of our main character, Corey. Shown here, it's right at the beginning of the film. You can see it clear. I think it's first 20 seconds, somewhere in there. And then we tweaked the exposure. We did a lot of stuff with that. It was just very, very clear how much we'd improved. We used natural my gosh. We use natural lighting from the sun on the psychiatrist to show, it's a little brighter tone than our main character, Corey. And then when it switched to Corey, a lot of reverse shots switched to Corey, and it was just very clear something's wrong. A lot of negative space, backlighting, something is wrong with him. And so most of it was tweaking the light exposure on the camera, and that was really easy to do. So
great stuff. Okay, here we go. The last dab. Vincent?
I'm shaking. I'm like actually shaking. Oh my gosh. It's just gonna be a little dab because
let's see it.
I will die. I'm too late for this. I will actually die.
Why
is it so thick?
You could do it. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm not doing any more. Do you want me to die? This is your show. Like, come on. Holy crap. Oh my god. Question.
All right. With limited equipment, I've heard that in production you guys had a little problem with sound. So why don't you tell us about your growth in that?
So at the beginning, it was really hard to... Oh my gosh. At the beginning, it was really hard to get the audio and the dialogue from our characters. And I'm sweating. Get the dialogue from the characters. So what we ended up doing is we ended up using microphones. Like, just those Apple microphones. My tongue is numb. And can't swallow. We used the Apple microphones, and that allowed us to isolate the voice with a feature on CapCut, and allowed us to pick up the audio much better and much more effectively. Oh my gosh. Oh. And then about halfway through the year, we did an entire video on blogs. I mean, not blogs. We did an entire video on sound. If you go to my YouTube channel, Vincent Castillo, it should be there. And it was just about trying to capture, sound. We did a lot of music. Our first rough draft had no music. There were so many awkwardly quiet scenes. And then when we got closer to the video we had on sound, we incorporated music, but the dialogue was still a little hard to hear. And it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't, ideal. So we used that. We used the microphone to help pick up mostly on the dialogue. And then by our final product, in my opinion, I think we mastered. We got the dialogue. We got the dialogue down. One part maybe was a little choppy when Corey requests to use the bathroom. But other than that, no, I think it was good. We had huge improvements on sound. The music was good. We used a little bit of dissonance with the music, challenging the convention of an actual Thriller song, love song. That was nice. I tweaked the audio of that, so I slowed the song down. And then when Corey looks up at himself in the mirror, we pitched the song down, and that allowed for, a deeper reflection for the audience, just to look at Corey. Oh, man.
It's got a kick.
It does have a kick. And then that just allowed for some internal reflection, very obvious internal reflection. I'd say we improved quite a bit, especially over sound. But the other two, lighting and camera work, we improved a lot about that. So that was good. Thank you for having me out here.
Thank you for coming on the show.
I'm going to chug a glass of milk right before I leave. It is right here. No. We'll save the camera. We'll save it for the cameras. But, yeah.
Good luck on all your projects.
Thank you.
If you want, you can find him anywhere at Vincent Castillo.
Yep.
And I'll see you next time on Hot Ones.